ability to interfere with our nuclear equities. If that is the case, folks, this is the greatest intelligence failure our country has ever faced, eclipsing that of 9/11 by an order of magnitude. And I lived through 9/11, okay? And several people in here who I've served with as well. So neither one is really good, is it? Foreign adversarial, or it's something else. The Pentagon just said, for the record, maybe for the very first time, UAP are real. That happened 2 days ago in front of the Senate. Who else said that? Former Director of National Intelligence, Ratcliffe, said, for the record, yes, they're real, we need to look at these things, and they're performing in ways we can't replicate. Who else? Director of CIA, John Brennan, and Director of NCTC, National Counterterrorism Center, said the same thing. 2 former presidents and a current president incoming have all said, for the record, this is real, we need to look at it. So, you don't need to take my word for it. Okay? This is the situation we're in. And so, how do we get transparency into this? That's how. You gotta get whistleblowers. We have to create an environment where it is safe to have this conversation. I know, don't look. I can actually dress up if I need to. I'm sorry. Terrible picture. We create an environment by which whistleblowers who've been part of legacy efforts can come forward and have a protected conversation with the proper authorities, and ultimately to you. You have members of Congress on both sides, liberal and conservative, that are coming together on this topic for the very first time, and they want to tell you the truth. But in order for them to tell you the truth, they need to get the truth first. And so now we're in this little dance, song and dance with the government elements in the executive branch. We're like, okay, well, we'll show you a little leg, but not all of it. Oh, just kidding, right? But we're getting there. We're getting there. I've always said disclosure is a process, it's not an event. And we're getting there. I know people are impatient. I know you're hungry for the truth. And as much as you want to know the truth, I can promise you 10 times more I want to tell it to you. But I do not look good in orange, so I don't want to go to jail, right? And look, let's face it, I don't have to. Look how far we've come in 7 years together. All of us. We've come farther in 7 years than in the last 70 years. So progress is being made. And I've always told people there's a difference between doing things right and doing things right now. And so we only have one chance to do it right. And so this is what we're trying to do. Create an environment, legal protections, remove the stigma, and allow people to come forward who've been part of these programs, like I was, to be able to speak the truth. And so that's really why we're here tonight, because it's not just me, it's you. The only reason why I got called up there was because of you. You called Congress. You demanded it. The media picked this up and said, hey, we want to know the truth. Our viewers, our audience want to know the truth. And Congress, the same thing, the elected officials. Then you know what? We're getting called every single day. And by the way, there was a time you would have had to have been crazy to consider the UFO topic as being legitimate. Now you're the minor. Now you'd be crazy if you don't, right? We're having near-air collisions now, and civilian pilots are reporting it, military pilots. Everyday people are reporting it. So we've come a long way, folks, and we've come a long way because of you. And I'm not telling you that just gratuitously. I'm telling you honestly. If you stop tomorrow doing what you're doing, this is over. This is done. I'll go to Walmart and hand out stickers all day long. It's over. So we are here and we are achieving this because each and every one of you are demanding the truth. You're having the conversation around the dinner table. You're having the conversation around the water cooler at work. And I know it's uncomfortable. People look at you funny. Oh, God, you want to talk about UFOs again? Yes, I do. Yep. And guess what? You're on a 15-minute break, so we're going to have a talk, right? That's how you do it. You take it to the streets. And that's exactly what you've done. You have taken a topic that I think is very important to our national security, and you have turned it into a movement. Now, not in modern history, other than maybe civil rights and a few others, has a grassroots movement like this, by the people, for the people, have made this kind of impact. You have presidents talking about this. Members of Congress having hearings, not just one, but now back to back to back. You had Dave Grush before us. People like Ryan Graves and Dave Fravor, right? It's happening. There's more of these that are going to happen, all because of you. So, with that said, what I'd like to do is open this up now for some questions from everybody out there. Please don't be shy. We are a little bit limited time, so forgive me, because we're going to do some signing out here for some folks as well. But let's open the floor. Tucker, could I bother you to bring the microphone up? Got it. All right. God, you got such a nice voice. By the way, for any of you who had to order my audiobook, I apologize ahead of time. I was telling somebody earlier, I've got the silky smooth voice of a cement truck in high gear coming down a mountain road, so forgive me.
And I want to ask you if you still feel that way. And then also recently you said, I think on UFO podcast, that you're kind of tired. So I want to ask you anything technical, just
is it
how
obvious?
Are you?
Do I look that tired? It's obvious.
No, yeah, you look great from here. Just how are you? That's really what I'm asking you. How are you?
I'm doing great now with folks like you and where we are in the conversation. I could not be happier. But by the way, I appreciate the well wishes. But I'm just a person. At the end of the day, this is only happening because of you. And so really what's more important in the way that I feel is how do you feel, right? Are you waking up every morning and taking care of yourself and doing what you got to do? Because this only works, we're only succeeding because of you and everybody in this room and countless others out there whose voices for a long time were being squelched. And now, I tell you, it's a roar up in DC. They hear you loud and clear. So thank you. I'm doing well. As far as the sobering comment, yeah, it's a sobering comment, right? It's a sobering concept and idea and subject. We're talking about the greatest mystery of mankind, of humankind, and our place in it. What does it mean even to be human? I'm going to share with you something that I've been speaking about a lot lately. There are paradigm moments in our existence as a species. Now, it doesn't happen very often in one's lifetime, but as a species, I'd submit to you, these paradigm moments, these moments of evolution have to happen if we are going to evolve as a species. So I've said before, maybe one of the examples is when we first crawled out of a cave and we looked into the darkness and we realized and gazed upon the heavens how big our universe really is. And maybe another time is when we took two rocks and we struck them together and created a spark, and now we could illuminate that darkness, right? And that lion that's hiding behind the tree, really, well, maybe it's just a bush. And maybe the last time we had something like this, an event like this, is when where two fishermen are standing on a beach and one looks to the other and says, hey, you know what, Bill, I'm going to go over the horizon. And Bill says, oh, you can't do that. You're going to fall off the side, and there's sea monsters and big kraken out there. And of course, we laugh about that now, right? Especially as we're, taking a cruise over to the Caribbean. But the reality is that there are sea monsters. Except for they're called great white sharks and blue whales and the great squid of the Pacific. And they're not really monsters, are they? They're part of our natural environment. They're part of our new paradigm. And so is it possible that with this topic about UAPs, we're just standing on another stony beach ready to take a sail over the horizon? And that's the way I look at it. And it is sobering because you have to reevaluate everything you've been taught, everything you've learned, everything you've thought, any preconceived notions and biases you may have had. You now have to reevaluate that, and that's hard for us as humans. It's hard to look in the mirror and say, maybe I'm not 100% right. Maybe I need to reevaluate. This is why up in my briefing here, I put up that one of the big lights that were supposedly over Romania, because you have to be forced to look in the mirror, and there's two types of people in the world: those who take facts and you already have a preconceived notion, so you try to manipulate the facts to accommodate your ideas, or in the face of new information, you change your ideas to accommodate the facts.
Interested in knowing if those plan to take place sometime soon, or if they already have, and then if there was any communication regarding the cow mutilations in those closed sessions.
Whoa. Yes and yes. All right, let's get to, and on that note, let's get to the gentleman over here with the hat, and then we'll do 20 points with you.
And real quick, one more. My friend, we were just talking about this before I came here. He's like, maybe Lou, what are they really going to do and they say you don't look good in orange. If you just come out at a hearing that's live streamed and say, this is what's going on, like, you have the whole world behind you, you know, like, what are they really going to do to you?
That's still not an excuse. I'll tell you, for me, look, folks,
Thank you.
I took a security oath. I take it very seriously. And I made a promise. I know. Hold on a second. Listen. You can't break the law to enforce the law. Okay? You can't do it. I took an oath, and that oath to my government to protect its secrets was an oath to you. To you. So if I break that oath, how could you ever trust me again? How? And by the way, I would be silenced and you'd never hear anything from me after that. So, I think I said this is a process, we're getting there. I don't have to go to jail to have this conversation with you because every day we're putting in new adoption requests and the Pentagon is being backed into a corner and they're approving more and more and more and more stuff every day. So I don't think we have to do that. I don't think I have to come out and by the way, I may not know everything. And if I do that, then other people who might know more or other things may not come out after that. So it's a bit of a delicate dance, unfortunately. So